Aaron, how's Glenn Maxwell today? Is he a chance of missing this game?
He seems pretty good. He's going to have a train. He said he's been able to hold the bat no problem. It'll just be a case of how he feels in the nets when he has a hit. But at the end of the day, I think we'll probably leave that call up to him if he feels confident enough to get out there and do the job. But all in all, he's a lot better than Shaun, obviously.
Aaron, how's Shaun Marsh emotionally, I guess, and how much has the events of yesterday taken its toll on the team emotionally?
Yeah, Shaun was obviously very disappointed. He's still in surgery at the moment, currently, so we just wish him a speedy recovery. He's going to stay around with the team as long as the tournament goes. And I think it hit the boys pretty hard yesterday. Obviously, it's not ideal having anyone ruled out of any opposition or any team throughout the tournament. And it was just unfortunate that it hit him where it did, an inch lower, an inch higher, and he'd be fine. So it was just one of those freak things that was really unfortunate. But he's a very resilient bloke, very tough bloke. So we're all right behind him.
I guess the flip side, if Maxi doesn't come up, how would Peter Handscomb go under the pressure of the World Cup to just be thrown straight in there if he played tomorrow? Yeah,
if required, he'll be 100% ready to go. We saw how well he played in India and in the UAE. I think being 2-0 down against India doesn't get much harder than that as well. So I think the resilience he showed after a tough summer as well, and then to come out in them series and perform really well, get a really crucial 100 in the 370 run chase at Mohali to set up what ended up being a great ODI series, shows that he's well and truly ready to step in and play if required. And that was the reason why he was selected. He was really stiff to miss out in the first place on the World Cup squad, and every opportunity he's had recently with bat in hand in the field he's nailed. So we're very confident that if required that he'll do that job.
Yeah. What are you feeding your fast bowlers? Red meat?
No, it was just one of those freak things. I mean, Shaun got a bouncer that sort of followed him a little bit. We always pride ourselves on competitive net sessions. We think that keeps you very sharp as a batsman in particular. And it was just one of those unfortunate things. Maxi, the one that he got, just didn't bounce quite as much as he expected. Hit him on the arm. So it was no fault of anyone really. It was guys being competitive in the nets and guys making sure that each and everyone's as prepared to play as they can be when required.
I was just follow up to Julian. It's not ideal when they're knocking over your own men, but it shows that they're coming to concert pitch just at the right time, possibly. Yeah,
absolutely. And they were out for a really good bowl yesterday, having a couple of days off to put where they had the chance to put their feet up and recharge the batteries after a pretty hectic schedule throughout this World Cup. There's obviously no malice or anything, and it was never ideal. But at the end of the day, these things happen in the game, and it's unfortunate. But
Off topic a little bit. I know you're a self-professed cricket nuffy. I know you've got a World Cup to deal with, but have you given any consideration to the 100 competition? I would love your thoughts as to what you make of that concept, and do you think it'll sing next year? Is it something that you've ever, have you given much thought to how it will play out?
Not really, to be fair. I was a little bit surprised when they first announced it, but I think it's something different, something new. The ECB are trying something again to try and revolutionise the game, so it'll be exciting to play in, no doubt. It's at some point it's going to be brutal on one bowler in particular, isn't having to bowl a 10 ball over or however that. I read something recently. I don't know how it's exactly going to go or how the draft system's going to go in terms of who goes where, but it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. It's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to playing in it next year.
Aaron, South Africa have a good record against Australia in the last 3 years in one-day cricket. Why do you think that is, and do you think that'll count for anything tomorrow?
I can't put my finger on why it is. I think at times we've probably had, probably haven't taken key moments in games. I think over the last couple of years at various times we've had quite inexperienced sides at various times, and South Africa have had a pretty settled lineup for majority of that 4-year period. Obviously you take AB out of there, but if you look down their list, they've got Hashim, Quinton, Faf, and then you go the other way, Kagiso, Rabada, these guys, Imran. There's a lot of guys who have played a lot of cricket. So I think just in that period, I think there was some, obviously 5-0 in South Africa. They beat us pretty badly in Australia 2-1, which was a really close series. And again, we just didn't take those key moments. And I think on the back of that, it's probably to do with having inexperienced guys in the side and on for their part, having experience that they know how to fight through really key battles in games. So whether it counts for anything tomorrow, I don't think so. Obviously, very, very different conditions to what we've played them in the past. Looks like it's going to be a good wicket, so we're very excited for the clash.
Aaron, is this a time in a tournament where Australia just feels at home? I mean, obviously, was there a different feel, I guess, you were there in 2015 when you got to the finals? Was there a different feel in the group where it just switches on? Because obviously the record is quite good at this time.
No, I don't think you can ever just switch on your intensity or anything like that. It's something that you have to keep drilling all the time. And I suppose comparing it to the last World Cup, again, like I just said, that we had a very experienced side during that time. So it was guys knew their role really well, and we had a really settled side. Over the last few months, we've managed to get to that period, that space as a team. But I think Australia's always prided themselves on playing really good cricket and their best cricket at the right time. It's a tough one. But in terms of that, you're always wanting to build up and peak at the right time, but you can't just switch on your intensity. It's too hard. The game's too hard. If you let an opposition into a game or you let them on top of you, good oppositions don't let you back in. So you can't afford to have that concentration lapse or start off with poor intensity in any competition.
Aaron, I think at the captain's presses about 6 weeks ago, when you guys were asked who you'd take from the opposition on your side, you said Kagiso Rabada.
Yeah.
Just given how your bowlers have gone and how KG has gone in this tournament, would that still be your answer? And if so, why? And if not, why not?
When I was asked that question, it wasn't the fact that it was one particular bowler. It was what I was trying to get to at the time was wicket-taking bowlers, guys that can break open games. When you look at that, you go, I straight away think Rabada, Bumrah, Mitchell Stark, Archer, Mark Wood, these guys that can turn a game on its head from nowhere. So that was my basis for plucking Rabada's name out. He's a world-class bowler. He's proved it time and time again in all forms that he gets the job done. So no, it wouldn't change. Any of those guys that are wicket takers and get the best players in the world out consistently, you'd want them in your side. So it's going to be a tough battle. We know what he brings with the new ball, how explosive it can be at different times. So that's something that we're going to have to be right on top of our game first up.
A lot has been made of the last time, the last Test series that what happened in Cape Town and the stairwell. But it's not just those incidents that South Africa and Australia seem to bring out the angst in each other. Why do you think that is? And are you going to have to somehow restrain your players on the field, do you think? No, there'll be no restraint needed. Like I said last week, I think the spirit in which the World Cup has been played has been unbelievable. The sportsmanship, the camaraderie amongst the teams has been outstanding. I think Australian and South Africans, they're quite similar in a lot of ways. They're very competitive people, very passionate about the game, and try their best as hard as they can to win games for their country. So I think that's where the rivalry, I guess, comes from. There's been a lot of great test matches, close test matches, a lot of great historic one-day matches as well. So I think that's where it all stems from. There will definitely be no need for restraint, though.
Aaron, can you reflect a bit on the sort of dramatic reversal in fortunes of the two sides? I mean, Cape Town last year has been mentioned, and you mentioned the last two series results, but going into tomorrow, it's very much Australia who have the momentum and South Africa who don't. What does that say about sport and just about the World Cup?
Yeah, it says a lot about sport. It's you can never take anything for granted, and I think that's just in general. When you're playing well, you need to keep continuing to improve and make sure that you're doing everything in your power to help everyone around you improve, because the competition overtakes you pretty quickly if you sit still. But
I think what's changed for us over the last little while is our ability to win the key moments in games, the ability for somebody under any circumstances to stand up and put their hand up and play a key role to help win a game for Australia. So I think that's where it's come from, and that's not saying that going back a bit further that wasn't happening. It was probably just guys would get the team into a position to win a game, and then we just wouldn't grab that key opportunity. So I think for me it's been about having a bit more experience around the group and guys who have been in World Cups, in tight series, in high pressure environments where they have got the job done before. So there's that real belief in the group and in each individual that when their time is required, that they'll stand up and do the job for Australia.
Aaron, is it any extra emotional for David and Stephen to play this game against South Africa, playing against them again? Is it possible to move on from what happened last year?
I think everyone's moved on. There's definitely never any more or less motivation than international cricket itself. It's a World Cup. It's coming to the business end of the World Cup. There's not much more motivation needed from that. And I think, well, from my point of view, a lot of majority of people have moved on from it.
Last one, Sam, you don't waste it.
When pressure's on, I was pouring over some stats before, and I had you guys as the best fielding team so far. Would just love your thoughts as to, based on these metrics, I mean, how have you assessed collectively the fielding standard, and how much emphasis do you put on that as a team?
We put a lot of emphasis on our fielding. We pride ourselves on it. We work very hard on it. We're judged extremely hard from our coaches, JL, Punter, Hads, on our fielding, and it's not always the outcome. It's just about the intent with which you throw the ball, you attack the ball, cutting off ones in the circle. So it's always been a big part of our, I suppose, DNA of how we play our best one-day cricket, and it says a lot about the attitude that the team brings on that day. We know when we're playing our best that we're in the ring, we're cutting off ones, we're making the opposition feel uncomfortable with our movement in the ring and just angles that we're moving. So we've always prided ourselves on it, and touch wood, it's been very good in this tournament so far, and there's been a lot of work that's gone into that over quite a long period of time. A lot of blood, sweat and tears in some fielding sessions that have happened over the last couple of months in particular. But it's fielding's great fun when you're doing it well, and I think that's one thing. If you look around our group, we've got some of the best fielders in the world. Obviously, Davey's not throwing like he was a few years ago, but Maxie's he's as good as anyone in the world. Smithy's right up there. Nathan Lyon is seriously as good as anyone, and when you've got a lot of guys that can field in a lot of different positions, I think that inner circle becomes really crucial, and we're able to create a lot of energy and a lot of indecision in the ring. Thanks, guys.